Are you completely out of ideas on what to share on your Instagram stories? Well, I am super excited to share my top 10 Instagram story ideas for when you do not know what you want to share next. So let's go ahead and dive into the first one. The first idea is to do a Q&A sticker with your audience. And there are really a lot of different things that you can do when you're doing a Q&A sticker, from ask me anything to asking them what they want you to link for them, to asking maybe something, a fun game like would you rather, or something along those lines. There are really so many things you could do to interact with your audience and can make it really, really interactive. So this can be just a really simple Instagram story that you can create. And then once people start sharing responses, you can share those responses and interact with your audience in a really, really fun way. The second idea is to share about accounts you love following and why you love following them. Not only can this be a really cool way to connect with other creators and other people that you look to for inspiration, but can also be a really cool way to just share inspiration with your own audience and other accounts that you love following that they should follow too. And chances are, if someone likes following you, they're probably gonna like a lot of the people that you love following as well. And it can be a really cool way to just support other people that you follow and their content, and also give your followers something inspiring and some other people, some other awesome rock star creators that they can follow as well for similar content to yours. And pro tip here, when you do share about them, make sure to tag their actual Instagram handle. Even if you're resharing one of their posts, it's not going to notify them. So make sure you're sharing their actual Instagram handle on the story so they're also notified that you were sharing about their account. The third idea is to share about something that maybe you've been really loving lately. And I know this is a little bit vague, but you can really take this in a lot of different directions depending on what kind of Instagram account you have or who your audience is. And you can really make this, incorporate this into any other kind of Instagram story that you're doing and how it fits really naturally. For example, maybe on your Instagram stories, you're sharing a little bit of your life and your day-to-day and what's going on. Maybe you just happen to be making yourself a smoothie in the morning, and after you post your smoothie, you could also post a swipe up link to the blender that you use to make that smoothie. Or maybe you are a photographer and you take lots of photos and you share behind the scenes of yourself photographing one of your clients. Maybe then you could share a swipe up link to your camera body that you use to shoot with. There's a lot of different ways, a lot of different things you could do with this, but this can be a really cool way to provide value to your audience, incorporate in the things that you're already doing. So if you're already sharing about those things, why not also share a link? And if you're an affiliate in an affiliate program or have affiliate links to those things, not only are you able to provide value to your audience, but you're also to generate maybe a small stream of income by sharing about those things and doing it on a consistent basis. That kind of leads me into number 4, and that is, if you are a business or online brand, share behind the scenes of what you are doing. And I know, again, this might be a little bit vague and might even seem boring to you, but trust me, the things that we do that seem mundane and boring to us are actually very interesting to other people, especially when it comes to running a business or an online brand. People are very interested in what it takes to do that and what people actually do to do those things. And so, think about what are the things you do on a daily basis. What is computer work that you do? Maybe you film videos, maybe you make Instagram posts, maybe you edit photos. Like, there's just so many things that go into running a business. And we know that if we have a business or a brand, but letting people into that process can be a really cool way to bring them along on the journey, to make them feel like they're also getting to know you and your brand and what you do. Kind of going along with this too, another thing you can do is to share the process of how you do something with your audience. So you can share behind the scenes. For example, maybe as I'm filming this YouTube video, I could share behind the scenes of myself filming this YouTube video, and then also share about, how I'm setting up my lighting and give a little walkthrough of where my lights are and why they are where they are and all of those things. Or maybe I could share, again, going back to the earlier idea, sharing myself filming a YouTube video and then share a link to the exact filming camera that I use and the mic that I use and all of those things. So it can just be a really cool way to let people in on what you do and the process and how you do things. People love to know about that. You can even share your thought process on, maybe you are creating something and you're sharing your process on start to finish on how you're creating that thing in your business. Just think about what are the things you do and what are the things that if someone is not doing what you do, what would they not know anything about? What might be really, really interesting to them? Idea number 5 is to share paid and free offers that you have. If you're a business owner, it is completely okay to share about the things that you are offering in your brand, because I think something that we can do sometimes is think that we cannot share those things because it's going to come off as too salesy or like you're always sharing about those things. But first of all, not everyone who follows you is going to see see every single one of your stories or your posts. So you can share about it way more often than you probably think that you can. And if we're creating these things and we know that they're valuable, we know that they're going to serve our audience really well, we should have confidence in sharing those things online, right? And you don't have to do anything crazy with this. It can be a really, really simple, just a really pretty graphic with a swipe up link to maybe a new free video that you shared, or maybe to a free download to get people onto your email list or something along those lines. It can even be just maybe, again, going back to incorporating it into your daily life. Maybe you're sharing about how you're working on a paid product, and maybe in the next story you share a swipe up link to the paid product that you are working on tweaking and making even better. So it can just be a really cool way to, maybe you'll have some sales from that. Maybe you'll gain some email list subscribers that could lead to some sales down the road. And it's okay to use your Instagram stories to do things like that. Idea number 6 is to do a poll. So you can really do a lot of different things with this, but here are just a few ideas that I came up with. You can use it to get market research on your ideal audience, maybe ask them what they're struggling with. Maybe you're trying to come up with your next product that you want to offer, or you're trying to come up with your next video idea or your blog post idea or whatever it is. You can give them 2 options and see which one they would prefer. It's a really cool way to have your audience almost help shape your content and what you're putting out there, and see what people actually want to hear from you. And then whatever you're putting out is what people actually want to see from you, what your audience actually wants you to give them, right? So it can be a really cool way to use polls. You can also use it for just silly things like, maybe you are asking people if they prefer this or that, or maybe you're asking them what you should do for date night, or maybe you're asking them what you should wear that day, or, you can let people in onto your day-to-day too, and use polls to let them help give their opinion on things. People love to give their opinion on things. So it can be a really cool way to interact with your audience, and a really easy way, because a lot of people interact with polls, at least in my experience, especially if you're really new to Instagram and you're trying to build that engagement with your audience. Start with a lot of polls, because people tend to love to tap on polls and then see the results and all of that, versus maybe typing out a really long response to a question box sticker. So I would try some polls and incorporate them into your stories as much as you can. Idea number 7 is to share something really inspirational or impactful that you saw recently on your own Instagram feed. Maybe you saved it to your Instagram account and you want to reshare. Maybe it's an inspirational quote or a graphic or something like that. You can even save these to a folder so you can go back through and read through those and reshare them later when it makes sense, or when you run out of content ideas. So that can be a really cool way to just inspire your audience and connect with your audience on something that you found really impactful as you were scrolling your own Instagram feed. Idea number 8 is to share a really cute graphic for something new that you have created and put out there, so your audience can go check it out. For example, anytime I post a new blog post, anytime I post a new YouTube video, I'm always sharing that to my Instagram stories and providing a swipe up link. And if you don't have the swipe up link feature, you can encourage your audience to DM you for the direct link. I prefer doing this over having it in the link in your bio. Someone is way more likely to click on the link if they DM you for it, or maybe you put a question box and they drop a little something in the question box, and then you DM all those people the direct link, instead of having to make them navigate to your link in your bio and find it. So that's what I would do, and that's a really easy story idea. If you're already doing all this work to create all of this awesome content on other platforms, link to it on your Instagram. It can be a really easy way to have not only Instagram story ideas, but to use your Instagram following to view all of this other content and for them to be served really well by you. Idea number 9 is to reshare anytime somebody either tags you in a photo, or when someone tags you in their Instagram story, reshare those on your Instagram stories. And while this might seem really obvious, there are some really strategic reasons why you can do this. And the purpose of resharing these is really to help build credibility with your online brand or business. And so especially, if the mention or the tag is related to what you do. Maybe you did something for a client and they tagged you in a post, or maybe somebody found your blog post helpful and they tagged you on stories. Reshare that in your Instagram stories and add a swipe up link to that blog post that they mentioned, or maybe talk about, how much you love serving your clients, or whatever it is. It can be a really cool way to, build credibility, because somebody else is talking about you, and it makes it seem even more credible incredible when someone else is mentioning you and talking about you and how much they love learning from you or how much they love the experience with you. And it can be a really cool way to also like almost sneakily provide swipe up links to the things that they are mentioning, or maybe encourage people to DM you for the things that they are mentioning in that story or in that post. Idea number 10 is to share your personal life. And this, again, this is very broad. This might be a little bit vague, but I really wanted to include it, make sure I included it in this video, because this can be done in so many different ways and can be a lot easier than we might make it out to be. And yet it can be so impactful for the people that follow us. Because when you start sharing your personal life, and you don't have to share everything about yourself to share personally on Instagram, but when you start to share about the little things in your life, like I share a lot about my dogs, I share a lot about my relationship with my husband, I share about my love for chai lattes and my day-to-day life and things like that, it really helps people to get to know you on a personal level and to feel more engaged with your account. So you can do this through, maybe you're doing talking to the camera stories on Instagram and you're sharing about, what you're doing that day or something along those lines. Or maybe you share a boomerang of your cute dogs and talk about how much you love them or something along those lines. Or maybe even just a really simple photo. You don't even have to add a ton of words or captions or anything. It can be a really cool way to just share about yourself. It can be really, really easy because you're already doing these things in your personal life, right? And so it can be a really easy way just to quickly snap a photo or a boomerang or a quick video and share that on your Instagram stories and almost bring people into that journey with you even more and for them to get to know you even more. And I just wanted to throw a bonus tip in here for you, because if you've made it this far, you are really, really honestly just awesome for watching this much of the video. But because you made it this far, I'm going to throw a bonus tip in for you. And that is, when it comes to Instagram stories, one big thing that I am thinking of is thinking about how I can keep my Instagram stories interesting. And so, we talked about all of these different ideas, but within all of these ideas, think about how you can incorporate videos and photos and boomerangs and all of these different types of stories to keep it very interactive and entertaining, right? Think about how you can almost tell a story through your Instagram stories. And so for me, posting a video that is like 10 stories long is probably not going to be as engaging as if I trim that video down and make it only 2 stories long, and then maybe post a photo after that, and then maybe later I post a boomerang, and then maybe at the end of the day I post another photo. Because that helps to break it up a little bit more. So you have like video, photo, boomerang, photo. And it's not just either a bunch of photos in a row or a bunch of videos in a row that nobody is probably going to tap through, right? So that's my bonus tip here. Make sure when it comes to Instagram stories, and thinking to make them a lot more engaging, is make sure you're mixing it up. So if the last things that you have posted all day were photos, maybe mix it up at the end of the day, post a video or something along those lines. It can really help your stories to feel a little bit more fresh and entertaining and help for it to be more engaging and for more people to watch your stories. If you haven't already, be sure to hit thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me if you are subscribed to my channel, and I will share more with you guys next week in next week's video at noon Eastern Standard Time, and I cannot wait until then. Bye guys!